Welcome back to the Electrical Building Design Show. In this episode, we're going to be talking about what I think is the biggest change in Revit 2026 for electrical engineers, which is the fact that they removed voltage drop as a feature. When I was listening to the new feature videos about Revit 2026, seeing what they had done, they included this as a throwaway line, that voltage drop was removed. And I had to go back and rewind and listen to the video a couple times to confirm that I was hearing it correctly. But in Revit 2026, voltage drop has been removed. I keep going back to the electrical design triangle as a framework for BIM for electrical engineers. You have the 3D model, you have the single line diagrams, and you have the calculations. And Autodesk, by removing calculations from Revit, is actually taking a step backward in terms of what BIM can do in Revit for electrical engineers. So what's going on here? As long as I've been working with Revit, it has had voltage drop as a feature, and in the entirety of that time, it has never changed, and it has always been just a little bit broken. It has wire lengths built into it, but these wire lengths are not well calculated, and they're not something that most engineers are comfortable using. The wire sizes were always limited to copper wires for their impedances, so your voltage drop only worked on copper wires, it didn't work on aluminum. And you didn't have any ability to change the wire sizes. So they gave you a wire size based upon the voltage drop with no ability for you as the engineer to make any changes to that. The end result was that no one used the voltage drop feature, and also no one used the wire size feature because it was based upon this broken voltage drop. Autodesk has had three choices for addressing this. They can leave it in its broken state, they could fix it, or they could remove it. Their answer since they first implemented it was to leave it in its broken state. That was the cheap and easy answer from a development standpoint. They could just leave the feature as it is, not make any changes, not spend any development resources on it. That did come at a reputational cost. Having a broken voltage drop tarnished the entire electrical design system for Revit. They could have fixed it, and in fact with Revit 2026 they took the first steps toward doing that. They took their wire sizes, they made it so that the engineers could actually set the wire sizes, they expanded that whole feature, but they didn't take the final step necessary for voltage drop to add actual impedances to those wires and then use them to calculate the voltage drop. They're very, very close, but for whatever reason, they did not choose to make that next final step to get a correct voltage drop. Instead, they went with the third option, which is to remove voltage drop entirely from the program. I'm not sure if it's a can't or won't implement voltage drop in Revit. I'm not part of the product team for Revit, so I don't know what their thinking is, if they took a look at it and said it was too complicated a feature or beyond what they were able to implement, or if they have a vision for the Revit electrical that doesn't include voltage drop, or if they even have a vision for Revit electrical at all, other than we don't want to have this feature in here that's not broken. Compared to their previous decision of leaving it in broken, removing it is actually a much better choice. It makes the electrical feature set much cleaner and more clear. Now, all of the features they have for electrical design in Revit work as intended. You don't have to have these features that everyone's ignoring because they don't work. All of the features work and you can use it as far as it'll let you go. There's no longer this idea or pretending that maybe some calculations are going to be included in Revit. It's just clearly no voltage drop. We're not doing that anymore. Where does that leave the rest of the industry? What do we actually do now that Revit has said we're not doing voltage drop? Well, that's where my company, Design Master Software, comes in. We originally wrote ElectroBIM in 2014 because voltage drop didn't work. That was the whole genesis of our software. We saw the need for voltage drop in Revit and we started building from there. We size wires automatically, same as Revit was doing, but then we let you as the engineer override it as appropriate, and we use the locations of devices to get your wire lengths, again with the ability to override that and adjust it as necessary for your design, and then we can use that to calculate your voltage drop in your project. So for voltage drop, you're going to be using something other than Revit to do these calculations. You can step outside of Revit and do it in Excel or another third-party package. You can use ElectroBIM and actually pull the voltage drop into Revit, so you have a BIM model that's doing all of the pieces that you actually want it for as an electrical engineer. We've got a bunch of other features in our software as well. Single line diagrams, fault calculations, arc flash calculations. If you want to learn more about that, check out our website, designmaster.biz. We have a free trial where you can download and try out the software, see how we've implemented voltage drop in Revit. If not, Autodesk has made it clear the answer is to continue doing what you're doing and do your voltage drop outside of Revit.